So today we logged into Gran Turismo 7 to do the GT World Series, only to find ourselves racing at my worst track. Now you guys are probably wondering, why is this your worst track, Andrew? Well, look at this. Now you guys are probably thinking to yourself, well, Andrew, you just drive terrible. I mean, I'm pretty sure the racing can't be as bad. Well, so after watching that, I hope you guys understand now why this is probably one of my least favorite racetracks. But either way, we had to crack on as we jumped into qualifying. Now this was a very interesting qualifying. We were only given 6 minutes for the qualifying sesh, but each lap is about 3 minutes and 40 to 3 minute 50 seconds. And so due to that, you basically had a 1-lap shootout. You were able to get enough time to get out for the warm-up lap, but then after that, it was just 1 lap, and if you messed up that lap, then you're screwed basically. But luckily for us, we were able to qualify in P6. After everybody crossed the start-finish line, we ended up getting relegated down into P10, and that's where we ended up starting at. So after getting our 3, 2, 1, away we go now as we cross the start-finish line and making our way down the front straight, leading our way into turn number 1. It was going to be a very interesting, what can I say, first lap here, as that's usually where all the carnage unfolded around this racetrack. So making our way into the first braking zone, just looking at the radar, making sure we don't get absolutely destroyed from behind. Somehow we all make it through without any carnage, but that's not gonna live long here. As we make our way into the second braking zone, you can see cars are starting to get a bit aggressive here. Someone is ghosted with a 5-second penalty. Another car gets forced out wide, and that's our buddy SV Cantilever, as he gets a really bad bump from behind, goes straight into the barrier. And as we make our way now into the long right-hander, we're just being very patient as we make our way into the second apex of the right corner. Cantilever gets ahead of us, gets sent into the barrier. We try to avoid him, and now after just basically keeping it on the track and avoiding all the carnage, we make our way into P8 as we try to make it 3 wide into the double left-hander, but we decided to back out here as we were just being a bit sensible here. We didn't want to make any aggressive moves, as we didn't want to, put ourselves into the carnage. But up ahead, the Ford Mustang absolutely destroys Piston Killer, and we just witnessed murder right there. Someone call 911, please, because yeah, Piston Killer is not coming back from that one, and we just had to continue on here as we just are still trying to avoid all the carnage as we go side by side with P Roland here, heading into the bridge section. So again, we were able to make our way up into P7, but unfortunately, due to the fact that P Roland got a really great run on us on the outside, we lost the position, but we're still +2 here halfway through the first lap. But to make our way down this very long straight, the penalty zone is going to take its toll here, as all the people that had to serve their penalties on this very long straight. And lucky for us, we were able to gain 1 position, as I don't think anybody else ahead of us had a penalty. But we stayed right behind P Roland and Speed Freaks, heading into the right corner after the very long straight. And we find ourselves now up into P7. So from here on out, we just had to make sure that we hit all of our marks, make sure that we don't get involved in any more carnage, and don't lose focus, as that's one of the biggest mistakes that you can make here, is just losing focus, just due to how long this track is, how many corners you have to navigate through. And it's happened to me, it's bit me actually a couple of times, where just lost a little bit of focus, went a bit too wide, hit the grass, and I was straight into the barrier. But luckily here into the final parts of the first lap here, we were able to navigate without too many issues. And as we make our way now into the final corner, slipping and sliding our way through here, we were able to survive 1 lap. Now we just have to make our way around 3 more times, and hopefully we can finish off in a decent position. So heading back into the first braking zone, we spot our braking marker right before the 100-meter board. And as we make our way into the first braking zone, we get hit from behind from OMG Sam. And you can see I looked to my right to make sure that I looked at that correctly to see if he actually tried making a move on us. But as we make our way now into turn number 3, OMG Sam gives us a run for our money here as he tries to go for the overtake. We give him plenty of room, as we didn't want to be the next victim here of a Saint Croix. And as we make our way now into the left-hander, going into the double right, we just have to follow along with OMG Sam. So advancing our way more into the lap here, nothing really happened. We just basically followed the Jag up ahead. Things are starting to unfold here for P5 here with P Roland and Speed Freaks. And due to them fighting, it allowed us and OMG Sam to get into this battle here. And at this point, I was just kind of keeping an eye on what was going to happen here as we get a yellow flag. Someone's off up ahead. It was, unfortunately, one of the front runners. And due to that simple mistake, we were able to work our way up now into a free P7. And this battle for P5 has now turned into a battle for P4 as OMG Sam goes into the inside, gets a bit of a exit here and a little bit of a tap from P Roland, goes straight into the barrier. And now, due to that, we find ourselves in P6 as P Roland goes a bit wide, goes into the grass. And due to that unfortunate mistake, we were able to go into the inside, get another free position. And just like that, that's how quick things happen here, boys and girls, where we are able to gain 3 positions in less than a minute. And that's basically what ends up happening here at St. Croix. Again, you just lose a little bit of focus, or you just get a bit too eager on some of the corners, just overdo it just a tad bit, and you find yourselves either in the barrier or in the grass. So that has basically allowed us into P5, and you can see up ahead there was another mistake by one of the top podium runners, and due to that, it's now starting to look as if it's going to be a battle for the podium. And that was basically bringing me a lot of joy because, again, not even a lap ago, we were fighting for basically P5, P6, and here we are with a lap and a half to go. And not only that, putting in purple sectors, but with a lap and a half to go, potentially fighting here for a podium position. So we were going to have to do everything in our power to basically not make any mistakes here and just kind of keep up with Speed Freaks, use him as a I guess a reference for this lap, as I knew he had pace, and hopefully he can pull us up to that P3 and P2 drivers, and we can hopefully make our way here for a podium. But as we make our way now into the middle part of lap number 3, everything was working out pretty well. You can see that the gap was starting to close a little bit with those top 2, the 3rd and 2nd place drivers, and that was really, really great for us, because if they got closer and closer together, what I was hoping for is that they were going to end up fighting and we were getting a position. But lucky for us, as we make our way to the penalty zone, one of the drivers had to serve a penalty. It was E. Fernandez, and I wasn't expecting him to serve the penalty. I didn't see him get a penalty early in the lap, but yeah, he had a service penalty. And lucky for us, now we are here in P4 as we have a P Roland here, apologizing to some of the guys in the back. As you can see, there's just a lot of carnage going on, but yeah, lucky for us, we are now up into P4, and this battle for this, you know, it was P5, P4 position with Speed Freaks has now turned into the battle for the podium, and we are catching up and gaining on him slowly but surely as we now make our way into the final lap, back into turn number 2 on the first braking zone. Speed Freaks goes a bit wide. It has a little bit of a mistake there. It goes into, almost goes into the barrier actually, and we were able to kind of capitalize on that, close the gap. But as we make our way now into turn number 3, we're just spotting our braking zone, make sure that we don't make any mistakes. As I was seeing that this Nissan was really, really good, not on this sector, but the next sector. So if we can do well here, stay with Speed Freaks, potentially we can close the gap even further. And if we get into the straights and stay behind Speed Freaks on that very, very long straight, we could potentially utilize the slipstream, get around him, and hopefully we can get this podium away from him and steal it. But to make our way now into this sector, this is where I felt like I had a lot more pace than Speed Freaks. But as we make our way down into the double left-handers, you can see that the gaps are starting to close here a bit. It was about 0.6, now it's going down to half a second, now 0.4 of a second. As we make our way into the double left-hander, I was just making sure I didn't get too eager here, didn't get overly excited. We could just potentially, you know, we could just keep hitting our marks, potentially close the gap enough to even make the overtake before the long straight, and hopefully the speed and the top end speed here on the Nissan GTR can pull us ahead of that Jag, that Mercedes up ahead. But as we make our way now into the really weird right-left corner before the bridge section, See that the Mercedes was getting a little bit squirrely here as he was losing the rear end, but as we make our way down now into the bridge section, the gap has closed to 0.3 of a second and closing even more. And we had a good opportunity here to try to go for the inside for an overtake, but I wanted to be a bit patient. I didn't want to get ahead of him too early. And we did a little peek there, but just doesn't work out too well as go a bit, you know, a bit too aggressive into there, and contact was made. But I felt like I had my nose in there, and Speed Freaks kind of made a last-minute judgment call of trying to block, and all that about trying to go for, you know, a patience move going into the corner, I guess went out the window as we were able to find our way up now into P3. So here we are in P3. We just have to navigate our way through the final couple of sectors. We're actually catching up a little bit to Schmideen, and at this point, this is the part where I just got a bit greedy. I knew that we were a little bit quicker than that Ford up ahead. We were gaining time on him, but I wanted to see if, in case if Schmideen made a mistake, we can get that P2 away from him. And as we make our way now into the final few corners, we were starting to build a gap away from Speed Freaks, and we were actually gaining on Schmideen. As you can see, the gap went from 1.3 seconds down to 0.9 of a second. And coming to this corner, this is where my greediness came to bite me in the butt. As we go into the right corner, I just take it a bit too quickly, and unfortunately we make contact with the barrier, get a 5-second penalty due to making collision with the barrier, and we lose our potential podium finish off in P4. And not only that, we're gonna lose some more positions here. So I guess you can say it was karma for that aggressive move on Speed Freaks, and due to the 5-second penalty and making contact with the barrier, we lose all our position and all our time, and we end up finishing here in P7. So not too shabby of a finish. We were able to gain 3 positions up from our starting position, but again, we had a podium in the bag, got a bit too greedy, and these were the consequences. So anyways, let me know what you guys thought about this race here, if you guys did it. Again, this is probably one of my least favorite racetrack, but luckily we did really well here until the final 30 seconds of the race. And yeah, it was just always going to haunt me because I thought that we could potentially get a podium here at St. Croix. But either way, I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. If you guys did, smash that like button, help us out in the YouTube algorithm. And if you guys want to catch more content, hit that subscribe button down below. Anyways, my name is Andrew. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, peace.